Okay, we're on Oholot, Perek Bet, Mishnah Dalet, fourth Mishnah in the second chapter, Masechet Oholot. So we're going to talk about what's called the Golel and the Dofek. And the Kahati actually explains that this is a huge machloket. What does it mean, the Golel and the Dofek? So in classic terms, I'm just going to show you a picture. This is called the Golel. Golel means from Glilab, to roll. Okay, and I looked up the term stimat ha-golel. Stimat ha-golel is the closing. So in the old times, some say, many say, that in the olden times, like ancient times, when they would burial, what was burial? You took the body and you put it in this cave, and then you would wait a year or two until it decomposed, and you would repatriate the bones. You would just rebury them. So you wouldn't put it in dirt. You wouldn't if that kind of burial, you would leave the body kind of exposed to the elements in this cave. So what is burial? Burial was stimat ha-golel. I think this is here. You can sort of see like Golel, they would put a big rock and close it up with this Golel, with this big rock. And that's how that term Golel, okay, the Golel came to be known. But as time went along and terms sort of changed, and burial of course changed, and we even see that there definitely was a concept of burial in the ground as well, obviously. So then these terms also took on different meanings. So the Bartanura is going to tell us Rashi's basic opinion. Rashi says Golel is Evan Gedola Urechava, a big wide rock, stone, Shesotmim ba piha kever melamala, that used to seal off the kever, meaning they would put the body in and then put a huge stone. Actually, interesting, ironically enough, they really do that nowadays. They don't use one rock. If you've ever seen a burial, especially in Israel, they take the body, place it in the ground, add some dirt, but then they just put rocks under. They put like these stones across. And that's a bunch of stones, not one stone. That's what's called the Golel. Milashon, from the language of Vigalelu et Evan, for rolling the stone. Dofek, what is Dofek? Shtei avanim gdolot, these are two other big rocks. Echad mitzad zeh ve'echad mitzad zeh. One on one side, one on the other side. Shagolel nishan aleim, that the Golel was lying on them, was leaning on them. So you had the Dofek at the top of the bottom, and the Golel on top of that. That's the Golel and the Dofek. So it says the Mishnah, these Golel and Dofek mitamin b'maga uve'ohel. So they are tamei maga and ohel. Ve'einam mitamin b'masa. But for whatever reason, they're not mitamei b'masa. Now, for whatever reason, it's learned out from the psukim. This is from Parshat Chukat. The Torah says, okay, Golel v'al person who, you're tamei be'etzem o b'chalal, if you touch a bone or a dead body, o b'meit o b'kaver, or a dead person, or the kever itself, or the kever. So the Gemara says, the Midrash says, Ma meit mitame b'maga oboel, just like a dead person is mitame maga and oel. Af kever mitame b'maga oboel. Kever is also tamei, whether you touch it or tumat ohel. But ve'inam mitamin b'masa. That's what the Mishnah said. No tumat masa. Why? This is learned out from the pasuk, because it says, v'chol asher yiga al pnei hasadeh. Also from the psukim, anyone who should touch al pnei hasadeh, on the field, the Rabod, Golel, B'dofek. That includes the Golel and Dofek. And it says, Asher Yiga, if you touch it. Mishum Magahu Metameh. Ve'eno Metameh Mishum Masa. So it's basically a drasha of the Psukim, that it's Tameh Maga. And if it's Tameh Maga, it's Tameh Ohel. But the Pasuk says it's not Metameh B'masa. And Rabbi Lezer says, Metamin B'masa. It is Tameh B'masa. Okay, does it mean Rabbi Lezer learns it out? You can look it up in the Tosefta. How Rabbi Eliezer learns out that is tamei b'masa as well. Rabbi Yeshua says, Im yesh tachteim afar kvarot, metamin b'masa. If under the Golel and Dofek, if you move them, there is afar kvarot. Afar means dirt of kvarot, meaning dust or dirt, mud, in which the remnants of the dead is sort of enmeshed, like absorbed. Then metamin b'masa, because when you lift up the stone or you move the stone, you're moving the remnants of the dead. You're moving the remains. V'im lav, and if not, ein mitamin b'masa. It's not mitamin b'masa. It's not mitamei b'masa. So the Mishnah says, Ezehu dofek. So which stones is the dofek? Et shagolel nishan alav. The stone that the golel lies on, is leaning on. Aval dofek dofkin, but the stone that the dofek is leaning on, that's tahor. That's not mekabel tumah. The Kahati has also, this as a conclusion, has a long discussion about, when is the Golel and Dofek? When are they mekabel tumah? The mekabel tumah only if there's a grave there. Are the mekabel tumah only if there's a grave not there? That's one opinion. Okay, Golel and Dofek only when there's a, if the aron is in the kever. Okay, only when they're not connected to the kever. Because if they're connected to the kever, they're part of the ground. The ground is not mekabel tumah. So like you can read the Kahati. There's a whole long, read it in English. There's a whole long discussion about when are the golel and dofek mitame bagam oil. So we learned that golel and dofek, there's a whole machloket, a dispute about what it is. Okay, we learned one position, but there are other positions as well. Okay, and there's also a dispute about when it's mekabel tuma. But nonetheless, it's worthwhile to know. Oh, last thing to know, this idea of called stimata golel, so temata golel, is also an idiom in Israeli terms. Stimata golel is halachic terminology. Avelut begins, mourning begins with stimata golel, i.e. when stimata golel is when the body is finally covered. Okay, that's when avelut, the halachot of avelut come, because when you're done dealing with the needs of the dead, that's when the needs of the living take priority. That's called stimata golel. But it's also an idiom in Hebrew. Satamata golel means na'al b'siyem diyun. I don't want to talk about it anymore. That's stimata golel. Satamata golel, stop the discussion. And that's something, and I think we're going to be sotemata golel on this Mishnah. And we'll do that by dedicating our learning to remember my father, Rab Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Make it a great day.